Hello, and welcome to the Love Life, Live Life Fitness podcast, the premier podcast where we talk about topics ranging from health and fitness, performance and sport, and wellness and rehabilitation. We tie these topics together to understand their impact on our daily lives and our journey to be the best version of ourselves. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. Today, we would like to welcome Tyler. Tyler, feel free if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Angelo, thanks for having me. My name's Tyler Malone. I'm originally from Sacramento, California. I went to Oregon State University to play college ball. I was drafted by the Padres. That's how me and Angelo actually crossed paths. But I decided to hang up the cleats and get into coaching in 2023. So I've been coaching since then. I was in Arizona. I did some travel ball stuff. And helped out with an NAIA program that was starting up, and then was blessed with the opportunity to be a graduate assistant last year at Dallas Baptist University under head coach Dan Heathner, and was able to just learn a ton from him. And then I had the opportunity this year to come to Utah Tech University as an assistant. So I've been here since August out in St. George, Utah, and just getting after it day by day, starting my coaching journey. I feel like I'm getting old. I'm 28, but it's funny. Coaches will look at me and still consider me a baby. So I'm still in the beginning stages, but absolutely love it.
Awesome. That's great. And that's a great career path. I mean, just hearing all the way going from being a student athlete, playing professional ball, and then now all the way to coaching. And 28. I mean, it's pretty young in my age. So I think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
I was going to ask you, would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience as a student athlete at Oregon State?
Yeah. I think, and that's honestly like why I'm just so passionate about coaching and love being in college sports, is just because I feel like those college years are super influential, just from 18 to 22. Sometimes it's 23, 24 now, because we even have some missionary guys. So just with COVID and everything and how it backed up. But yeah, I mean, they were super influential for me, and just being, a part of the Oregon State program, playing under Coach Pat Casey, who's a Hall of Famer. It was life-changing. It grew me up quite a bit. But, at the same time, like, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Like, I think every college athlete goes that. Like, if you play sports, it's kind of like, the man in the arena type thing, where it's, it's not often, the easiest, but it's like the most worth it, right? Like, the times that you spend with the guys and the, the success that you're able to have on the field, but also the struggles and the failure. Like, I just truly believe, like God kind of uses it all to mold you and shape you. But yeah, I mean, I was super blessed to be a part of that team. I mean, there's a lot of big leaguers, like Adley Rutschman and Trevor Larnach and Brandon Iser, just to name it, Nick Madrigal, Stephen Kwan. Like, I could kind of keep going. But we had the opportunity to go to the College World Series in 2017, and we fell short there. But then in 2018, we also went and we were able to win the national championship that year. So that was an amazing opportunity, the most adrenaline that I've ever had in the game of baseball. Super fun. It was the infamous Arkansas ball drop game. I don't know if you're aware of it, but usually I'll kind of say that and people are like, oh yeah, it's like that. But yeah, I mean, it really shaped me, and I had to grow up a lot, and that Oregon rain and cold, it built some character too. I mean, you just know it's going to be rainy and cold, but we got our turf field, and we got to go out there and practice and get after it with the boys. But yeah, I was super fortunate and grateful to go there and be a Beef. So.
Awesome. That's great. And I mean, that's amazing. I mean, testimony to you and your guys and your entire
team and staff that you were able to, go back in 2017. You said fall short a little bit and then come back and do it again. I mean, it's testimony to like your hard work, effort, and just coaching and just it's not like an individual ball too; it's a team ball. So you have to collectively play as a team. You have to be able to, you know, help each other when someone doesn't make a right play, but you also got to be able to hold yourself accountable and just do your best. And so I think that's such an awesome experience to be able to say that you went through that. How would you say, those experiences, as well as your experiences in professional ball, how would you say that translates to now coaching?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, I don't know. Me just getting into coaching, I think like the biggest thing is, and like I'm still trying to figure out like being new to it. Like I think like my greatest strength is like I'll tell the guys like you're not gonna experience anything in this game that like I haven't experienced. And like I'll tell the guys and like I'm very grateful for my experiences at Oregon State and my experiences with the Padres and Pro Bowl, but I feel like the majority of my career was like struggle. Right. And I mean even in the game of baseball, right? Like if you get out 7 out of 10 times, like you're considered like pretty dang good. But it's like, through the highs and the lows. And so I think it's like the relatability, to understand like, when they're scuffling, like, hey man, like, I've been there with you and it's fine. And it's like, we'll work through this, like we'll grind through it. Um, but at the same time, it's like holding high standards and, trying to pull the best out of guys, right? Because it's like if you're too buddy buddy or too like, oh man, like it's okay type of thing, like you're not going to bring out the best in the players. And so it's just understanding and kind of like what I went through as a player, but, working with each guy and figuring out like what they need. Um, so yeah, I'd say just like throughout my baseball career and the struggles that I went through, it's like it's just allowed me to be able to relate with the guys, to kind of create that common ground, that common understanding, and then what's just what I found is like once they know you care, it's like those times that okay now you need to kind of jump them a little bit, like and you get on them and it's like oh shoot, like Timo doesn't usually do that, like and it holds a little bit more weight, but they also know like you know I'll hit them on the butt or dap them up right after, and they care about they know that I care about them personally, and it's like that's why I do it. It's like it's relationship, it's like and even from like the face side of me, but it's like viewing it as like real relationship, like REAL, like right, like that's what it's all about. And then that's what what wakes me up in the morning and gets me excited to get after it with the guys every day. So,
That's awesome, and that's honestly that's real in the
mhm,
sense that those relationships that you build, it's real. Like
mhm,
I'll say when I was with you at the time with the Padres organization, that was great to meet so many guys coming into that space. I'm just a guy trying to help out you guys be the best that you can be, and then same thing. I know that you feel that as coaching now that you're trying to help these guys be successful. You're trying to help. It's a collective thing. It's you become humble so much that you see the end goal. There's so many paths that you could do to get there, but at the end of the day, you just want these young men and other staff members and coaches. You just all you want them to be the best version of themselves because that's going to translate more to once they do hang up the cleats and they start to develop other career paths if they continue with their career, but just being a good person overall, that someone that you can talk to no matter what status you are, no matter where you're at, just being someone who can just be a good person and contribute the best to the society. And it's going to be X's and O's, and it's going to be a lot of focus on the game itself. But once you're in that point when sometimes your career is either dwindling down or there's things that you have different on your minds, different interests. It's like, okay, now that I know that this game is it's not going to last me forever. It's going to last forever overall, but my time playing may not last competitively forever. So how can I give back to the game, and how can I utilize this game, the the intangibles, and how can I make that better? So I think things that you talk about relationships, that just it transcends so many things. So thank you for that.
yeah, I mean you nailed it. You haven't said anything better. Yeah.
Um, With your time right now at Utah Tech, what does your day-to-day look like as an assistant coach in your position now?
Yeah. So now that we're in season, like, I mean, there's not really any off days. Like, you truly have to like love being at the field, like love being with the guys, like love the game. At least like from a coaching perspective, right? Like the guys will have some time off, but it's like, we'll still go into the office and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I'd say like we're getting to the office sometime between like 8:30 and 9, and we're breaking stuff down, like kind of like computer work, like office work. We're talking about recruiting and how can we make guys better, like practice plan, um, and just like it's simple, but it actually like takes quite a bit of time, right? Like, I mean, these are things like everything that we're trying to do, and like when we go to the office, like everything we're trying to do and we talk about for the most part is like, how can we take our guys to the next level? Like, where can some things be better? And especially just like where we're at in the season, like we started off really hot, and we've scuffled, uh, the past 5 games up until yesterday we won, but it's like, yeah, it's just like addressing certain things, and it's like, okay, what can we do and get them in the right spot, and it's not always what we can do physically or like through practice or through drills, but like how can we build them up, like how can we get them going right up here again. It's easy, like right when the season starts, like everybody's fired up, and then you kind of get going, and things kind of drift. And actually, I learned this last year at Dallas Baptist, but Coach Hefner, he brought up the law of entropy, which I thought was really cool. And it's like basically how things can like naturally break down like over time. Like if we don't uphold things, like whether it's like our body, like physically, or just day to day stuff, like our room, right? Like if we don't pick a couple things up like each day, like it's gonna turn into a mess or break down. But so it's just like fighting against that as much as we possibly can, and it's just human nature to like get away from things that we might have been doing at the start. Just like, oh, I'm okay now. It's like, no. So yeah, just like breaking things down, trying to help them out. And then we got our pregame sessions and routines, and then we got our games, and like these games are about they start around 6 or so. So we'll play the game, and hopefully we end up with a dub, and then after that we'll kind of break down the game, and going into the next day or whatever. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how it looks like right now, like in season day to day. I mean summer's gonna be a little bit different. Just the role that I have now, like I'll be able to like go out and recruit and do that. So I heard that might look like an every other weekend type of thing or whatever, but there's a little bit more time in the summer. So I could out here at St. George, the golf's pretty dang good. I don't know if you golf at all, but it's kind of a sought after location. So might try to get out to the links a little bit, but recruiting wise, like we usually, are in SoCal quite a bit. Me being from Northern California, like outside of Sacramento, like we've been starting to go out there a little bit more. I went to Seattle like in the fall, and then like Arizona is like a big one as well. So I don't know exactly my schedule with that as of now. But yeah, I'll be heading out a little bit this summer, and I'm fired up for that because I went out recruiting a little bit in the fall, but this will be my like first summer doing it. I don't know. It's it's a lot of days, it's time, but like for me, it's not necessarily work. It's just like it's stuff that I love to do. Yeah, just our coaching staff as well. Like great guys to be around. Great guys to be around. It's fun. Like we often, like we go to lunch like quite a bit. Um, it's kind of like our part of our routine, and I think like one of our like main things. It's actually up on the wall right here, but like it says relationship. Kind of like what we talked about, and I think Fate, like Coach Fate, our head coach, like even just the staff going to lunch every day, right? Like builds relationship. Like it's not all just baseball and winning like wins and losses and stuff like that. Like I mean, usually we're talking about baseball and stuff, but we'll just talk about life for like at lunch. But there's an emphasis on that, so we do that, and like he even has this over like quite a bit too. Just like a random Saturday, it's like, hey, I'm throwing some burgers and hot dogs on the barbecue. Like game's on, like, you guys want to come over, like, you totally can. So yeah, um, but I don't know. Like, do you have any other questions? Like, it's just we're usually at the field, like we're usually doing stuff together. Not a lot of off days, a lot of games. You
Yeah.
know?
You know, no, definitely. And I mean, that's great because I mean, I'm sure like there's so many other coaches, not only in, sport baseball, but, basketball, football. Like, sometimes it might be, the day-to-day grind, especially when you're in season, when you're at like pretty high levels. And I know I'm sure it's a grind, but, when you're doing something that you love, like it makes it all worth it because, like you said, sometimes it may feel like work a little bit, but, you're doing something that you care about. And that's so important that like you try to get yourself to a point where you do work that you enjoy. And I think that's such an awesome thing that you have a coaching staff that they actually you care about each other and that you're able to invite each other over or like communicate, have lunch together often. It starts to build those relationships awesome in such a way that it makes it like family sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's easy to kind of get wrapped up in the game and all the stuff that needs to be taken care of like off the field. Um, and just because like I mean it's very and like just the state of college sports, like it is business, right? Like it is life. Like this is what provides for families, and it's just very kind of I think hard to navigate and like understand that it's like we can still have relationship and like go to lunch and do that stuff, but also like take care of like everything that needs to take care of. So but that's just something that yeah, like I've enjoyed, and I think it's been good for our group of guys and our relationships and how we operate. Like we're building that relationship. It's not just like we're only at the field all the time, and it's like baseball. So that's something that Fate and his wife, like Ashley, like we had a retreat this fall, and she was like, yeah, like we talked about like being a family, and it's like no, truly, like we want it to be a family, and that doesn't always mean baseball, right? That means it goes on. We had a coaching retreat, right? Like we went to it's called Bryan Head, but it's like a little ski resort thing. We spent a couple days there, and like I said, like they have us over at their house all the time, and it's kind of like an open door policy. Like I think if any of us, just showed up and like, oh, like hey, and they'll invite us in, and it's like totally fine. But yeah, so that's been cool.
Awesome. Great. With your experiences, not only as a player, but now as a coach, overall, how would you say uh, just fitness in general and health and wellness, kind of however you want to interpret that, how would you say that has influenced your life?
Yeah, and actually, like I have some questions for you. I kind of want to break it down a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like being an athlete, like it's just like it's a part of it, right? Like I mean, I didn't really start like working out till I think the end of like high school. Um, like once you get into college and separator, like I think it's a matter of you know fitness, like your strength and conditioning, but it's like your diet too. Like I mean, we talked about it. Like Coach Evener in Dallas Baptist last year, like really emphasized diet, and it's like really the game changer. Like you're really putting like good stuff in your body, and having that high caloric intake and also getting after it, like the weight room, like you're gonna get bigger and you're gonna stay healthier and see different strengths and strides kind of present themselves. But I mean, me personally, like in college, was working out. We had good programs there. Like the Padres, like I think they did a good job too, just with like consistency of like our programs and bringing people in to kind of help us out. I think that's good. And I mean, just today, like now where I'm at, like not playing, not being an athlete, trying to hit the ball over the fence anymore. Like I think it's just like me just trying to be consistent, like not trying to get into phases where it's like, oh, I didn't work out for a month. Like even if it's like a couple times this week, maybe a little bit more next week, it's just trying to just keep active and kind of be more conscientious about my diet a little bit. But yeah, I mean that's just kind of where I'm at. Um, I try to do kind of more full body kind of like just kind of keep everything just right and like moving well. Uh, just so hopefully, when I'm 70 years old, like I can actually still move and throw BP and do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I have a couple questions for you if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Like, I've just kind of seen like, have you heard of motor? I mean, I assume you've heard of like motor preferences, and so it's just like it's kind of made its way into baseball, but it's basically saying like everybody's body's different, right? Like
You said everybody's body different?
everybody's body's different, right?
Mhm.
And they're talking about like training and like how you can't necessarily train everybody like the same exact way.
Mhm.
I mean, the main two like pieces, like at least for them, like as of now, are like aerial guys and like terrestrial guys. So like terrestrial guys like more flexion. They like to be like lower to the ground. They're usually a little bigger, like stockier, like bodies. And then like you have aerial guys that like want to be off the ground, like that are more like vertical, that don't want to get into that deep squat kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like for me, it's like I'm in my group. When I first heard about it, I thought about strength and conditioning and like the weight room, and because like you've seen, because like I feel like in college, like a lot of it is very like it's kind of like, oh, here's a program for the whole team, and it's like they're all kind of doing the same thing, right? So it's like I just wanted to ask you, like, do you think like it's gonna get to the point where it's gonna be somewhat more customizable, where it's like certain guys, maybe shouldn't be hitting a deep squat, right? Maybe it's like a 50%, like, and then just go, right? Because like that's what they kind of talked about with the aerial guys, is like they're like quick twitch, like, and then they just like go, and then like the terrestrial guys like need to get like down in the squat a little bit more to get more strength and stuff like that. So I just wanted to hear like if you've heard about that, like what your perspectives are. Like, do you think that's beneficial? Because like in Pro Bowl for me, it's like I'll see these big leaguers, and there's big leaguers like getting after it, right? Like putting up tons of weight, or even double A, triple A guys, like whatever, putting up tons of weight, and like that's what makes them good, right? Or like that's what made them good. And like they're super strong, and they saw great results. And then like I'll see other guys, and like it's like they barely even touch a weight at all, right? And they're out there throwing 96, 97, where it's like if they were getting after it, maybe that would have worked. Or like getting after it, like lifting heavy weights, like maybe it's like that would work against them, and they'd only throw. Whoa, holy smokes! There we go. I gotta get the lights going again. You need some movement. So it was up here. But you know what I'm saying? It's like they'd only be throwing 90 to 92, right? But they just kind of do body exercises, like not a lot of heavy weights, and they're out here whipping it at 95, 96.
Yeah.
I just wanted just through your experience, like what you've seen, like what are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, with the topic of like motor preferences, like I've heard some people talk about it. I haven't seen too much in the literature, and maybe that's a lack of my knowledge that I haven't looked and see if there's even like research about it. But I have heard a few people kind of discuss about this a bit before. In my experience personally, I really think it's a combination of, well, one, like someone's their biomechanical like preferences. Obviously, if you have guys who are very long limb, they have really long legs compared to a short torso. Sometimes you're going to want to put them in more, say, biomechanically advantageous positions. So they may not be able to squat as deep, or they'll have to have, say, like small 5 or 10 pound plates underneath their heels when they're squatting to help them get lower depth. So I'll say biomechanically putting them in positions that's going to help them optimize performance. I think to the point of, when you have guys who may be a little bit more grounded based compared to those more aerial based guys, I think sometimes with those positions, I think it may be a combination of, you know, maybe a topic of nature versus nurture, in the sense that they naturally are maybe built that way, or as they develop, they might have those certain body types, but also in the sense that how did they start to get into their physical performance of, you started playing ball when you were younger, or maybe a little bit later in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was your ratio of your skill work of actually being on the field, pitching, long toss, like anything that if you were a pitcher, or just an athlete developing overall to become a better baseball player and you haven't specified what position you were going to play, how much skill work did you do compared to what you did in terms of your training? Some athletes developing up and even into middle high school, they may not had a good weight room experience or had lack of a weight room at all. So they focus primarily on body weight movements for their physical performance, and then they focus on their skill work compared to other athletes who may have had a little bit better or more resource available strength conditioning programs. They might have had a little bit heavier weights, and so they start to develop a little bit more musculature. And so then they combine that with their skill set. So I think, kind of to your point, I think right now, and with that, you make an athlete stronger generally, it's going to translate in some way to their performance. You don't got to do too much because once you're starting them off early, there's going to be some type of transient development that's going to lead into their performance. But for guys who are at very elite levels, that skill, and you know this as well, that skill component, you have to have a great work ethic as well. But the skill component is very important. So for those guys who may be putting up heavier weights and who are at higher levels, they probably were introduced to weights a little bit earlier, likely. And then those guys who may be very good at their skill, they probably really focus on that skill development and then didn't go or touch on the weights as much.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you do start to get more individualized with this and as things go on, I think it's going to help them get better at whatever they have been doing. So if you do put a guy who's been doing a lot of skill development, if you give him some type of maybe not like throw 500 pounds on him on a trap bar right away, but if you give him some type of introduction, even a lighter weight, and then still keep that ratio of his skill development, he's going to start to see maybe some a couple miles per hour on his exit velo. And so I think if you start to implement that and keep it specific to what they've been doing, especially at those elite levels, professional, high division one, and even athletes who are very skill development at lower division, if you focus on that skill development and keep it individualized, which I wouldn't be surprised if that starts to be a trending thing going forward, I think you will start to see increases in performance. But again, with athletes coming in, especially many athletes coming into college, sometimes you never know what you're getting. They're good at what they do in terms of the skill, but some guys, they have different body types. Some guys are super big, super tall, and they're strong. Some guys are skinny, have a little bit more framework to develop them. And I think giving those guys just something basic to get them going and then getting more specific, that's going to be very important for their development. I don't know if that is a long way of saying all those things. Yeah. I don't know if that kind of helps.
I hear you. Like our strength and conditioning guy does like a great job. Like our guys love him. But it's just like motor preferences. Like when that started making its way into baseball, and the University of Maryland kind of got that going. But like we actually had those guys, the motor preference guys, come to my school last year at DVU, and they were kind of talking it down or talking it out. And it just, my mind right away went to strength and conditioning and like lifting. And like I know there's so many nuances and like training and just the game itself, but it's like, oh, like, this guy's body wants to move this certain way. Like he probably shouldn't do this type of lift that would suit a different body better, right? And so it's kind of like feeding guys like strengths and like how they want to naturally move, like what makes them quick, right? Like, I mean, dude, way bit more than me. Like, but it's like, there might be a certain way that a guy generates like quickness, and this guy might generate it a little bit differently. Like, find like what helps that, and like this guy does that, and this guy does that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And like, so I think like as things evolve and people just become more aware, like, of what that is, I guess, like, I think it's like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if things start to change a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I think it's super cool at the same time, and it makes sense to me. So I just wanted to kind of hear your thoughts and hear you break it down. So
yeah, no, definitely, completely. And I mean, I still have a little bit more to learn about that myself, but I think that um, when you get into working, translating research into actually coaching things that you're doing, there's things that work, but also there's a big gap in terms of what you might find as, say, significant from a research perspective, but
Mhm.
also trying to supplement that with strength conditioning development, but also say to your end, like a skill development or like how you're going to help, strategically win a game. So
Mhm.
I think there, you know, it's wide and narrow at the same time, but with that point of trying to emphasize individuals, their strengths, developing their weaknesses for sure,
Yeah.
but if some way like you can optimize their strength, because again, there might be athletes who they're really great on single leg exercises, but their double leg exercises, they're just not
Mhm.
the greatest. And so it's always that variability with some individuals. And so I think something that's great in that's done in research, as well as I know that we did in the professional realm, and you may do that in the collegiate realm as well, but exercise like testing, in the sense that maybe you were testing their hamstrings, or testing their hips, testing their hand grips, or testing all these different variables that are very important neuromuscularly, but also very important to their physical development. Because if we can somehow get some type of strength in understanding, or you have strong hips, you got strong hamstrings, you got a strong upper body, like understand these things that are may not be baseball specific, but they are major muscle groups that are used in the actual game. That gives you some type of relation to how you can start enhancing someone's performance. So
Yeah.
definitely something I'll look into. So thank you for those questions. Thank you.
Yep.
I just got a couple more questions for you. Right now, into the point of where you're at, and I know you're young in your coaching career, and you're young overall. So I just got to keep that straight. But
Wait,
overall,
how old are you again?
28.
You're 28 too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
We're right in the
Yes,
same spot.
sir. Yes, sir. How would you say, or what advice would you give to anyone who may be in a similar point to where you're at, or wants to get to where you're at? Maybe not necessarily Utah Tech, or maybe
Yeah.
Utah Tech in
Just
general. But where,
coaching.
yeah, in general, what advice would you give to anyone who wants to be where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like your playing experience is big, but it's not everything, right? Like, there's plenty of coaches who like maybe played at like an NAI, right? Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, it doesn't have to be the D1 guy. Like I think there's a lot of actually really good coaches that like didn't play at a high level, or like really good baseball players, because they're just super knowledgeable of like everything, and they're just really good at like making guys better, right? Like so because like, I see like I think it was like Barry Bonds, or like I don't know, like Michael Jordan or whatever. Like for the guys that it just like came super easily to, like they just did it. It's like why can't you just like do it? You know. So it's like the people that like go through struggle and failure and like have to kind of grind and like experiment, like try to find ways to get better. Like I feel like that's like what really makes somebody like a good coach, or whatever. So it doesn't matter like your playing experience, um, but at the same time, like I think once that's established, or like you're done playing, it's like it's obviously like your network and like your relationships and like your connections, and kind of getting your foot in the door, um, and that's like what it's been for me. Like I was just super grateful that my Oregon State coach was able to introduce me to Coach Schiefner at DBU last year, and I kind of just stuck with it and kept in touch with them, and then spot opened up, and I was able to go there last year. And then even like the reason that I'm here, like at Utah Tech this year, is like so many different pieces and like the connections, and like had to happen for me to like get this opportunity. And like I mean, to be completely honest with you, like I got the head coach's number because my friend growing up, she married the brother of a kid who plays here right now. And then like my parents met the in-laws and like got our head coach's number like through the in-laws, like up in Utah, like northern Utah, right? So it's like just but it's like you just stick with it, and yeah, just kind of be in it every day. and learn. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's all about just wanting to help people and help players and just kind of get after it every day. But I mean, there's not exactly like one way to go about it, but I think it's just like opportunities and just kind of getting going, right? Like no matter what it is, whether it's high school to JUCO, and then JUCO to you know D2 NAI, like whatever, and then you work like every coach knows like it's going to be a process, right? Like we don't know like what that process is going to look like, but if you love it, you just kind of keep after it, and then it's like you step foot in, like you're just getting after it, and then you meet certain people, and they can open up opportunities, or just working your way up, like you get opportunities, and everybody wants to go about it differently, right? Like some guys want to get into it, and it's like, oh, I want to be the head coach at LSU one day, right? And like some coaches are totally fine going high school or being a teacher or junior college or whatever. But like just through my life experiences, like my faith, like specifically is probably the most thing. It's like I just try to be like where I like am in the moment, and try to just take advantage of that, like be the best you can be, like pour into people and learn as much as you can. And then like for me, I just kind of allow God to like open or close certain doors. And I mean, He's always kind of showed up for me, since high school and in college and pro ball. So I kind of just let Him direct my path. Like I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I have just a lot of peace just being present in the moment and kind of letting it work itself out. So I don't know. It's there's not like one exact way to go about it. So I think it's like if you love it and you keep after it and you develop relationships, like certain doors are going to open, and then just kind of write it out and go the way that you want to go.
Oh, thank you for that, and I think that's so true. There's never one way about going about most things, but there's never one way about going, especially on that route that you're on. My path is different from your path, which is different from the guy next to you. And so I think that's the amazing part about it. And I think, having faith it's a big thing. Like, trusting God's plan, even when you think your plan is one way,
Mhm.
it's not your way. And so I think that's awesome. I got two last questions for you.
But
With this being said, and you're really talking about the love of the game and pouring into people, for you, what does it mean to love your life and live your life?
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of talking about faith a lot, but I think it literally all like stems from that. I think it's purpose. I think it's truly like kind of like loving what you do every day, but also understanding that it's like you got to be in the trenches a little bit too, right? Like I think like especially like men, like having purpose, like having like reason and like drive, like no matter like what that is, right? Like but it's like finding that, and it's like it's truly believing that. Like that's what I think the purpose is what allows somebody to like love your life and like find that peace, right? Like if you don't have that purpose, like that's when we start getting. But it's okay. It's like truly, I think it's like trusting too, like whatever you go through. And like for me, it is my faith and like truly relying on God. But it's like I have complete peace and trust and understanding that like if my focus is on Him, like He's gonna direct my path, right? Like He's gonna keep my path straight. Like He's working everything together for my good. And I just find so much peace in that. Like I mean, I read something once, and it was just like a like standard. I don't even think it was a Christian book, but it was like you can't truly have peace unless you put all of your trust into something else besides yourself, right? Like if we have to be the one to like figure everything out, like we're gonna be the like constant chaos, like anxiety, like one thing goes wrong because like we feel like we have to be in control. So like that really like freed me up. I was like, you know what? Yeah, like I'm gonna put my trust in an all-knowing, all-loving God that is working everything together for my good. Like, okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna live my life like that, and it just brought so much peace to me. Um, but I think yeah, like to have peace, like to have like love what you do, um, and then it's the relationships. Like Like you find like when you put your focus on other people like besides yourself. And I think we live in a society today that like totally emphasizes like the self, right? Like the person, and like personally, and just like having like talking to relation or talking to people like, their experiences. It's like I feel like the more we think about ourselves, like the more the depression, like the anxiety, like all that, and like we just see it skyrocketing, right? And it's like, oh, you're so like worried about how you feel, like just give your attention and like your joy and like just focus on other people, right? Like get outside of yourself and like that'll like free people. Um, and I feel like yeah, it's just a lot of there's just a lot of yeah, I guess joy, like joy and just yeah, trying to help people, you know. And like that's what it is like serving, right? Like as a coach, right? Like helping people. Like you brought that up. Like how can you just help? Like are we gonna have everything figured out? Like absolutely not. Like are we gonna mess up? Yeah. Like do we have all the right answers? Like absolutely not. But it's like I'm gonna try my best to like just help people, you know, whatever that is. And I mean especially like if you have some connection to like for me being baseball, it's like baseball's molded me and shaped me into like everything I am. And like God's used that. And so like I want that for other guys, right? It's like that's why I'm still coaching is like all my friends, right? Like or I mean a lot of my friends and like my life experiences and like the struggles and the successes, like that's molded me. And now it's like how can you give it, right? How can you give it to these kids now, you know? Some are 22 and it's kind of funny because it's like I don't feel like I'm that much older, but the 18-year-olds or whatever, and yeah, just trying to pour into them. I think that's what it's all about. So
Awesome. Thank you, man. That's a really great response, and I think that's so true. Trusting in something or someone else that controls everything, and like knowing that like I say, God's got you, and that your plan is developing, it's ever changing. But if you just start looking around you and giving around you, and then again trying to just help others, and then meeting them where they're at, and staying where you're at, you know, while slowly progressing. I think that's huge. It's ever it's an ever changing and always growing process, but it's your life, and it's your life that you can dictate. But trusting in God, going not going outside yourself, but just being someone who can just spread joy.
mm.
That's that's one of the biggest things that you never know what happens in life, but at least you can say that you tried to do something right. That's big.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said just like look around you too, right? Because I think like we're so like focused on we just miss like what's like right in front of us, right? And it's like it's there, like something's there. Like you're in this moment, like you have like purpose, like in this moment, and like there's a reason you're at, where you're at, like whatever, like everything's and it's like usually there's something right around you, right? Like that you can find and so I like, yeah, I love that. It's like staying present, right? Like staying present, like staying neutral. Like I read a book once too that talked about just the power of like being neutral, right? Like not getting too high, not getting too low. Like, and I mean, it's all synonymous to being present, like peace, neutral. Like I feel like they're all kind of the same. But yeah, dude, like yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. All right, last question I got for you. Right now, I know you're coaching, you're doing your thing, but for anyone listening, looking to find more about you or even try to contact out to you, where's the best place that they can find you?
um, yeah, probably Instagram. I mean, I'm still pretty active. Like we're 28. We're not that old, right? So like we have Instagram. My Instagram is just T10_Malone, or if you type in Tyler Malone, it'll probably pop up. But yeah, don't be afraid to shoot me a message or whatever. Pretty good at responding. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have a Twitter too, but that's just mostly for coaching and baseball. Like, but yeah, it's it. That's probably the best.
Awesome. Well, Tyler, I really thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast today. And just thank you for all the insight that you gave about your experiences being a student athlete, playing professionally, as well as coaching now, and then just kind of saying how, the relationships are such an important part about, not only your position, but also just over in your entire life and how you got to where you are. So thank you so much for all the information you provided, man. So thank you. And it's always great to talk with you as well.
Yeah, I thank you as well. I mean, it's been a minute since I've seen you or talked to you, but just your insights and what you're doing, it's awesome. So thanks for wanting to have me on as well. I'm humbled and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. All right, man. Well, good luck with the rest of the season. And talk
Appreciate
to
it.
you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I also want to thank our wonderful guests for coming on today. For more content, you can find us on Instagram at Love Life, Live Life Fitness. Stay tuned for our next episode, and as always, love your life and live your life.